Good morning. It's morning for me. Whenever you watch this, good afternoon or evening. Today we're going to start off with Guadalupe. So here's Guadalupe. There's Juan Diego with the cape. There's flowers. There's the little demon, I don't know, whatever he is. But anyway, here's Guadalupe. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed art the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. I don't have it down in Spanish, fluent enough to be very good, but I'll do a quick Latin version. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Jesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae, now and at the hour of our death. So there's a little salute to Mary, starting off with. Now, today I just want to talk about the nature of God and send you off for the summer with just a kind of a global appreciation for what God means and what it is. It's the spirit. It's what makes the whole physical universe exist. You know, before the beginning, there was darkness, which was God, which was the spirit. So it's the spirit that animates the physical universe. And our scientists nowadays have broken it down to the point where we know about atoms and subatomic particles and little quarks and things that make everything. If you add them all up, then we have what we have. We have human beings and stars and galaxies and all the rest of it. But that's just the physical world. Okay? And so as much as we know about science, we only know about the physical world. The spirit world, scientists doesn't deal with that. Some people don't even believe in the spirit. I'm sorry for them, but the spirit is what manifests right through all of the physical universe as we know it. So to give you a sense of how incredible and awesome the whole thing is, I got a little lesson worked up here. So my first quote is from Acts 24, 25, and 28. God made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is the Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. So he is the Lord of heaven and earth. So heaven is the spirit, and earth is the earth, the world, the universe, as the scientists know. But the Lord is in heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. Okay, so we're not going to the church, or now we're starting in again because of the virus. But you know, the church, as we think of it, is all of us people that believe, not just the physical building, obviously. So that's Acts 24. Then he goes on. Neither is worshipped with men's hands, as though he needed anything, seeing he giveth to all life and breath and all things. Okay, so neither is he worshipped with men's hands. In other words, in churches, in buildings, or with sacrifices or whatever. As though he needed anything? No, he doesn't need anything. Seeing that he gives life to all earth and breath and all things, not just physical things, spiritual things as well. So that's how I read that. And we skip ahead to Acts 28. For in him we live and move and have our being. As certain also of your own poets have said, for we are also his offspring. So we're nothing more than the offspring of God, the mind of God, spirit manifest in the physical world, and that's what makes us. So when we die, we go back to the spirit world, but we're the offspring of God. It's God's mind. I just hope that he or she doesn't forget. You know, hold that thought. All right, and then on to Corinthians, and this is when Jesus sits at the Last Supper. He says, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and said, this is my body, which is for you. Do this in remembrance of me. So I want you guys to, girls, to remember, you know, everything that we did this year. It's a great year. It cut short with the virus. We worked from home, did the best we could. But I want you to remember everything you learned, and remember you're going to come back in the fall. It's the plan. I don't know what way we might have to separate a little bit or something, But we'll be back. I'll be back, and looking forward to seeing you all. So, continue. Some of this is a little repetitive because I carry this in my head all the time. So I say these sorts of things, but I'm trying to put it together into like a send-off message for the summer for you folks. So here's my little drawing. If you have the Earth and you have 25,000 miles is the circumference of the Earth. 25,000 miles if you were to fly around the Earth in an airplane or a satellite or whatever. Now, out of that 25,000 miles, the human eye can see 3 inches. Think of that, 3 inches. That's everything you see. Everything you can see is 3 inches worth out of 25,000 miles. Now, all the rest of that is electromagnetic spectrum. The radio waves, X-rays, infrared, ultraviolet, gamma rays, X-rays, all that stuff. That's all flying around all the time. There's neutrinos, there's subatomic particles, there's dark energy. We don't even know what that is. They just know that it exists kind of because of gravity. So what I'm getting at is everything you can see is Roy G. Biv, the 6 colors, 6 primary and secondary colors. So that's all we see. We see 3 inches worth out of all this. The rest of that exists, and that's just the physical world. All right, never mind the spiritual world. There's probably levels and levels and levels of that. So it's pretty amazing when you think about it. As much as you can see, there's so much more. It's beyond comprehension. I can't even imagine. But anyway, that's kind of an introduction to what I want to get at. So if that's the case, I want you to think about this. I got these numbered because I got them in order. So even in the physical world, even though it's just a small part of God's greater manifestation, spirit world and all, we have the sun shining down, and this is a prism. This is how we get rainbows. And you go through a prism, and it breaks the sunlight, which we think of as white light. It breaks it up into the spectrum that we can still see. Again, beyond the violet and beyond this infrared, then red. We can't see the infrared. You can see infrared with night goggles, special glasses. And like we've said before, ultraviolet, bees can see ultraviolet. We can't, we can see violet. So it's limited. Human eye can, some animals can see a little bit more or less than us. So anyway, that's the visible spectrum for the human eye. Okay, so that's how that works. White light goes through a prism and becomes the rainbow, or spectrum colors. So on to the next one. So say you are a person standing around, and in order to see a rainbow, you have to have the sun behind you. Okay, so this is guy out here watering the garden. Because the sun has to be behind you. Because the way it works is the sunlight bounces off all the raindrops. These are raindrops. Okay, and that's why the only time you can see a rainbow is if it's raining where in the east, or depends what time where you are, east or west. It's not important. But if the sun is behind you and there's a rainstorm in front of you, then you can see a rainbow because the sunlight bounces off all those raindrops and comes back into your eye, and your eye registers the colors because they've been broken apart. The white light's been broken apart. So sunlight hits the raindrops and comes back. And then if you look at this, each raindrop shoots back a rainbow. Right? But it's circular. Okay? It's circular. So if you are, next time you're outside, if you're ever outdoors in the garden or watering your garden, and you got a hose, this guy's got a hose, he's spraying the hose. If it's on mist, all those little tiny droplets do the same thing. It makes a little tiny rainbow. So you might have seen, like if you're doing that, you can see a rainbow in there. And you can see the curve to it. If you take the hose and run it in a circle, around and around and around quick enough, you can actually see the whole circle. It dissipates real quick because the droplets drop out. But it's a circle, not really just a bow. It's a rain circle, or rainbow circle. So that's what happens. That's how that's the scientific reason that you see rainbows. Okay. So you might ask, well, if it's a round circle, rainbow's a round circle and it's coming from God, how come you only see half of it? Well, that's because the earth gets in the way. That's how you see a rainbow. If you were in outer space, up high enough, and the situations were such that the raindrops were reflecting up into space, you would actually see the whole rainbow at once. It's just a question of where you are, but we're all on the earth, and the earth, pesky earth gets in the way, blocks out half of God. All right? And that's why we have to be careful about the difference between the physical and the spiritual world. Because what is really God in the physical world, since you can only see half of things, you might think that was a serpent. Look, it looks like a snake. Okay? So you might think, oh, I see bad. Like right now, we had unrest and riots in the streets, and people are mad, and wars around the world, and things are awful. That's what we're saying. We're seeing all the awful stuff. We think it's a serpent, but it's all created by God. And it's only when we misuse it, and the earth gets in the way, we lose track of what's real and what's not real. We only see half a rainbow. We only see half of God because the earth gets in the way. The earth is the physical world. Again, remember that the physical world is just one small part. As much as we can only see 3 inches out of the whole electromagnetic spectrum as big as the earth, the physical world itself is probably just like another 3 inches if you kick in the mind of God and the whole thing. So there's your analogy for the summer. We can only see half of the rainbow because the earth is in the way. I like that idea. I had fun with that because I wanted to stress that, what we think is everything. No, our total experience is just the physical world. In this life, who knows what comes after this? We say heaven. That's just a word we don't really, it's probably not clouds, because clouds are physical. It's way beyond what we can imagine. We just have to wait till we pass away. So I'm looking forward to getting old and dying, but I'm looking forward to at least having something else to do then, because maybe I'll be an art teacher in heaven. Who knows? But anyway, art is just one way to look at the world. I'm an art teacher, but I'm a teacher. I'm a learner. I'm in grade 65 because I've been out of kindergarten for 65 years. So I'm still learning, and I'm excited about seeing everybody in the fall. And for you 8th graders, it was really a pleasure working with you. You guys are great, well-behaved, did the best you could, and huge improvement, everybody. I mean, I had some of you folks that didn't do much, and then by the end of the year, did stuff I was surprised at. So it's been a pleasure. Look forward to seeing everyone in the fall that comes back, and even for you graduates, come visit. It's always great to see people coming back and what you're up to and what the latest is. So again, this is just a short little thing for me to pass on to you, and then I'm hoping you are going to enjoy the summer. And I'm out of words, I guess, for now. But I love you guys, girls, and I'll see you all soon.